Hi, my name is Big Fish Gorilla. We're gonna go over a few stats and Lies of P just to give you guys a quick overview. I plan to make this a quick video, so we're not gonna get too into the details, okay? So we're gonna do this from the level up screen. It shows you all the different stats that we're gonna be going over and a little more. And so just to give you everything that you're looking at from a visual point of view, I'm gonna be pointing and guiding you along here with me. This is going to be your vitality trait. This is more focused on health. This is your vigor trait. This is more focused on stamina. This is going to be your capacity. That's going to change the amount of weight you can carry. Motivity is going to be basically the strength stat. If you've played Elden Ring or any other type of RPG, this is going to be your strength stat. Technique is going to be your dexterity stat. And then advanced, it's kind of hard to explain. It's going to be the more elemental attacking trait. If you think about it, kind of like Arcane in Elden Ring. And then up here, you're gonna see the types of weapons you have. So I have 2 weapons and my arm. So your arm is also a weapon of sorts. And so here, let's move over here. You're gonna see weapon 1, which is scaling with B in motivity, D in technique, and 0 in advanced. Weapon number 2 is an electrical weapon I have, and that's gonna be C in motivity, D in technique, and B in advanced. And that's because it's a type of weapon that does electrical damage. So I have 2 types of weapons, one that's more physical and one that's electrical, and that way you guys can see how advanced impacts the weapons as well. And this is my Legion arm. The Legion arm is pretty split between motivity and technique, and it has 0 in advance. So if you're looking at these little diagrams, that's motivity, that's technique, that's advanced. Motivity, technique, advanced. There's only 3 types of damaging stats, guys. It's very simple. And then it's health, stamina, weight. Bam, there you go. And then what we're gonna be looking down here, what it's gonna be impacting is health, stamina. Legion is how many times you can use your arm. So your arm, Pinocchio has a punching arm, a grappling arm, a little shock blast arm, and you get different types of arms as you play along. How often you can use it, that's going to be your Legion. Then your weight is how much weight or armor you can wear. The better armor, the better weapons are heavier. It's going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. So if you want to be very bulky and defensive, you're going to want to increase capacity so you can move around without being slowed down. If you are heavy, as you can see here, it says slightly heavy, right? My weight is slightly heavy. You're going to be losing stamina when you attack, losing stamina when you roll, losing stamina when you run, regaining stamina very slowly. So you want to make sure you maintain that less than 70% is how you want to maintain that, okay? Guard regain is going to be how much health you can recover. If you block an attack, you can recover the health that you lost as long as you keep attacking back. Similar to a Bloodborne playstyle. It's a very aggressive playstyle. If you don't block an attack and you just get hit straight in the face, you lost your health. And so guard regain is important if you're going to find yourself blocking a lot. And then we have physical attack, the physical attack, and the electric blitz. So again, this is part of the weapons that I have. This has a 1 Roman numeral because it's my first weapon, and that's only physical attack. And this is my second This is the second Roman numeral because it's a combination of physical and electric, because that weapon is scaling again with everything. It's scaling a C with motivity, a D in technology, and a B in art in advance. And so that's why it's a combination of physical and elemental. And then my arm is mostly just physical, so it's only a physical attacking arm. Okay? So now we're going to look at the defensive stats. There's a total of 7 types of defenses that you need to, stats that you need to defend from. And in this category, you're going to see defense, damage reduction rate, and resistances. As you can see here, the physical attack, it's just a defense and damage reduction rate. And then for all the elemental attacks, that's fire, electric blitz, acid, disruption, shock, and break. They are going to be defensive, and there's going to be a resistance for those. And that's because you have to defend from the actual attack of fire, electric, and blitz. But as you're being attacked, there's a bar that fills up. If the bar fills up all the way, you're going to get a blight, right? Some sort of blight, some sort of debuff that is associated with fire, electric, acid, disruption, shock, or break. And so the more resistances you have, the slower that buildup of the bar. The more defense you have, the less damage you take from that type of element. And just to be very clear, there's 3 columns. Again, this is defense. Then you have damage reduction rate and resistances. The damage reduction rate, which is the center column, is only from your armor. It doesn't go up from your stats, from what I've tested. And so your stats are only going to be increasing the defense and the resistance. Sorry, your defense and the resistance is all it's going to be increasing. So let me give you guys a view of what that's going to look like. As we increase vitality, you're going to see health and guard regain go up, and also the physical resistance, all the resistances go up as well. You see that changing. How much is it going to go up by? I don't know. I'm just showing you the changes here. It all goes up. It's only increasing the defenses for the elements. It's not going to increase the resistances. And then vigor, same thing, is going to increase stamina, not health. It's a stamina focused stat. And then here you're going to see it's going to focus more on physical than elemental. As you can see here, only physical went up right now. As I put more, now it's elements as well. And when I go again, only physical went up again. And I put another one, then it's all the elements. So vigor is stamina focus and also physical defense focus. Whereas in vitality is kind of a spread between all the defenses, health, and guard regain. Capacity is going to increase your weight capacity. As you can see down there, I am slightly heavy, but as I increase my capacity, I go to no longer heavy. I'm now below the weight that they want me to carry. It's going to be 70%. If I am no longer slightly heavy, I can dodge and use less stamina with the capacity stat. Now motivity is going to increase, as you can see up here. It's not going to do anything below. It's going to increase my attack stat. And as you can see up here, everything is scaling with motivity because of what I'm using. Some of the weapons you're using might not have anything to do with motivity. It's a strength-based stat. I like to run in and attack. It's going to be all strength-based for me. You might like to be more dodgy with a faster poking weapon, then you might want to be more technique. In this example, we're going all strength. And so everything I have scales with motivity. That's the strat that I'm focusing on. And so as I put stats into it, you can see things are scaling with motivity. Everything is impacted by motivity. Everything is also impacted by technique. Everything has technique. However, my stats are lower with technique. I have 2 Ds and a B because I'm not using that stat much. So everything is still going to go up, but at a slower rate. You see how right here, only the Legion arm is B. So as I put 1 level, only the Legion arm goes up. But I have to put 2 levels to get the other weapons to go up with it because they are at a D scaling. They take more effort to go into it. So you really want to focus on the stat that you're going to be using. I don't recommend splitting between all 3 because you're going to find yourself not really getting above in certain fights. You really want to just focus on the playstyle you're going for. Advance is going to be, again, an elemental type of attack. And as you're going to see here, Advance doesn't really focus on anything physical. And so to make up for that, it's going to focus on your Legion arm, which is your arm attacks. It's going to give you more abilities to use your arm and use those powers. This weapon scales with B, as you can see up there. It's the only one. So that's why the Electric Blitz attack is the only stat that's going to go up with an advanced attack, because that's the only weapon that scales with advance. It's also going to increase my resistances. No other stat is going to increase my resistances. Okay, so advance increases the defense and resistances of elements. Everything else just increases the defenses, not the resistances. To give it a quick overview, vitality is for health, vigor is for stamina, capacity is for weight, and it gives you some of the Legion buffs. Motivity is a strength-based weapon, technique is a dexterity-based weapon, and advance is a elemental-based stat. So now we're going to look at some armor. When you go into your equipments tab on the top, you're going to see the defensive parts on the bottom. The defensive parts are your armor pieces, basically. Here we can see that we have different types of armor pieces. This one is going to be giving us more physical damage reduction. This is the frame. Under the converter, we can see that it's going to give us a lot more elemental resistances, elemental reduction rate. This is going to give us a combination of physical and the disrupt, shock, and break resistances. And this is going to give us more slash damage reduction, strike damage, pierce damage reduction rates. And so this is going to give us the reduction rate, give us more buff. I think further in the game, it's going to give you a combination of buffs and debuffs to make you focus on one element over the other at some point, I would assume. And then that's how it's going to be changing your defenses and your stats. The better these items are, the heavier they get. So as you can see here, the difference between these two is that one weighs less and the other one gives you less damage. And so do you want to be lighter so you can dodge more, or do you want to be heavier and take more hits? It's a give-take type of build, which is why capacity can be pretty important. It really depends what kind of build you're going for. So now let's look into weapons. This weapon is going to show you, so the top of the weapon. So now let's look into weapons. There's two parts to a weapon. There's a top and there's a bottom. There's the handle and there's the blade. So for this example, this is the blade. This is the top part. You're going to see the type of weapon that it's blunt, how durable it is, which is at 100, and the weight, how heavy it is. You're going to see the attack types, what type of attack style you're going to get. This is a combination of slash and stab. And then you're also going to see the attack abilities. So it's a physical attack, nothing to do with elemental. Charge pulse cells is when you need to charge your last pulse cell. This is the rate of how much it's charging. Fable charge is the rate of how much fable you're earning. Damage reduction rate while guarding. Again, damage reduction rate is basically when you're guarding, how much of the health you're losing. Single slash is showing you the ability that this blade comes with, and it gives you a description of that ability. And then the handle is what scales with your stats. So this handle scales with motivity and technique, and it also comes with its own fable art, which is, in this example, concentrate, which increases the attack temporarily. And so the handles is what scales with your stats. The blades is basically the overall base damage and attack type and things like that. So to give you an example, I have two weapons here, two. The one on the left is the Great Sword of Fate blade with the Karat Police baton handle. That's a different blade with a different handle. The one on the right is the electric coil stick head with the electric coil stick handle. That's the same blade with the same handle. And as you can see here, the weapon I have the one on the left is the one that I would want to use as a motivity build, as a strength build, because I am focused on strength and pushing in, and just I take damage because I'm a fool and I give it right back. So motivity and defense is my main focus, not the electric coil. And so as you can see down below on the stat here for the attack stat, you're going to see 111, that's from the blade, and 33 is from the handle, because that's from my motivity stat. Whereas opposed to this advanced blade, it's only scaling up plus 12, and that's because my advanced stat is super low. They're both, the advanced is B here, motivity is B here. So they both have very decent scaling at a B level, but this one gets a 33 bonus because my motivity stat is significantly higher than my advanced stat, so this one only gets 12. Again, that's my build. If you want to go more advanced, your weapons would be vice versa, because you want to be more focused on your elemental damage, or you want to be more focused on a technique build. I am going for a motivity build. So as a quick recap, I want to go over everything we talked about very quickly. Vitality is going to be more focused on health and your guard reduction. Vigor is going to be more focused on stamina. Both vitality and vigor are going to increase your defenses from elements and from physical attacks. Capacity is going to increase your legion stat, which is the amount of times you can use your fist, or the amount of times you can use your grappling or repulse, whatever hand ability you have. That's what legion is for, and it increases your capacity or your weight capacity, so that way you can make yourself lighter and burn less stamina. There's 3 attack types. There's 3 damaging stats. It's going to be your motivity, which is strength, technique, which is dexterity, and advance, which is arcane or the elemental attack type. Those three are going to scale with weapons depending on the weapon stats and their scaling. And as we learned, that's from scaling from the handle, not from the blade. The handle is what scales with the stats. In regards to common abilities, this is going to be, again, your health, your stamina, your legion, your fable slot, and your guard regain. We went over how that all gets impacted with the default abilities above. So looking at the weapon attack abilities, it's going to depend on what weapons you have in hand. I have two weapons in my hands. One's a combination of physical and elemental, and the other one's just physical. So the Roman numeral 1 is showing you one of the weapons is a combination of physical and electric. And then the other weapon, which is the second Roman numeral, is a physical attack. And so that way it only scales with attack. My Legion arm is also only a physical attack. And so it doesn't scale with arcane at all. It's mostly just motivity or technique that my build is scaling with. Under defenses, you're going to see three different types of defenses, which is just your overall defense, your damage reduction rate, and your resistance. The resistance is going to slow down the bar when it's getting full and you're about to hit some sort of debuff, which is going to be either disruption, shock, break, acid, electric, or fire. You're going to get a debuff that either kills you over time or it gives you electrical damage, fire damage over time, acid. It's going to ruin your stamina, your health, your mobility, whatever the debuff is. The resistance is going to make that debuff build up slower. Defense is just your overall defense against that type of damage, and damage reduction rate is based off of the type of armor you're wearing. You are defensive against these 7 types of damage, which is physical, fire, electric, acid, disrupt, shock, and break. And you're also defensive against these 3 physical ones, which is slash, strike, and pierce. A combination of armor will really depend on what you're defensive here, if you're going to be more focused in one stat than the other. A combination of weapons are going to determine what stats you see up here. Your build type is different from my build type. I am more focused in motivity. That's why I have 16 points in there. You might want to focus in technique. You might want to focus in advanced. You're more than welcome to do that. Your stats might look a little different than mine. It all depends on your build. Hopefully I was able to explain everything for you today as quickly as I could. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me under the comment section. Or I'm always streaming on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 a.m. on Twitch at Big F Gorilla. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like what you see. I do more shorts than I do long videos like this because I usually don't have time for it. But I've been really confused with this game and I've really enjoyed it. So I would like to help others enjoy the game by letting them know that this is the stats and this is how it's being impacted. Hope you guys enjoy the game as much as I did, and I'll see you guys around. Thank you. Bye.